all the time we have for today, Sunrisers. Please remember to tune in to Lead Story with George Davis at 6:30 p.m. It is not to be missed. Also, don't forget Corner Office is on tonight at 8 p.m. where you'll meet a 14-year-old principal. Yeah, I actually said that. A 14-year-old principal who is shaping young minds for the future.
All right, remember to tune in to CVM TV from June 20 to July 14 to follow the Reggae Boys on their journey in Copa America 2024. Watch them compete against the likes of Argentina, Brazil, Mexico, USA, and more. Hopefully they'll go all the way in this year's tournament. You can see it happen live on CVM TV. Again, June 20 to July 14. The Roundtable squad takes over right now.
Good morning, Roundtablers. Woo, what a bit of excitement this morning. Welcome to the Thursday edition of the Roundtable. I am Shelly-Ann, and joining me this morning at the table is my favorite co-host, and I must say it all, Vex. Kirk, how you doing, darling? Good morning.
Good morning, good morning.
And of course, we have a special guest with us, Dr. Shane Alexis. How you doing, Doc?
I'm great.
Good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, man. I like this color on you. It looks, brighten you up. Make it look nice and spiffy.
Summertime.
Yes, I know, right? And you realize the rain we've been having in the summertime here? I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. Yes, because I know the sun is waiting. Speaking of sun, something hot is coming.
There we go.
All right, make us see what's going on in the box this morning. All right, still no food. The Gelding Stigma, supporting men's reproductive choices. Now, of course, I don't know who has been tuning into the world, but apparently we are having a low birth rate across the world, and Jamaica, Africa, everything, because the low birth rate is also happening here. And every time I see a doctor, I like to ask them about these things, So Shane, I'm going to jump with you, Dr. Alexis. Tell us. So, before, we get into the conversation so deep, let me tell you what a gelding is for those people who are watching online wondering, what is a gelding? A gelding is a Jamaican terminology used to describe men who haven't yet fathered a child. Simply put. So, Dr. Alexis, low birth rate, the geldings, what's going on?
Well, I think the first thing is, the Jamaica I come from, they call it that you're firing blanks.
Oh. Okay.
A lot of people in the streets say, boy, you don't have no youth yet, especially once you leave high school, which is, I think, one of the stigmas that we have to, break down. Reproduction for men is the same as for women in the sense that it's a choice, it's an option.
Yes.
You may or you may not. And sometimes there are people that want to.
Yes.
As the song says, want to, can't get it, and get it,
no want it.
Exactly. So you see, just about, everybody has a story.
Yes.
And of course, I guess this morning we're going to talk more about some of that.
Yeah.
But in my experience, I think that there's definitely a lot of pressure on men to, once you get 2 or 3 subjects, or not, just go and have a youth, and that makes you a man, and I don't think that's always true.
No, I don't think it's true at all, but let's start there. Kirk.
Listen, I tell everybody, I'm not on the gelding truck, I am the driver of the gelding truck, okay? It is my choice to be that driver of that gelding truck.
Yes.
I think children should come planned.
Yes.
That's the first thing, right? It's not every one and every situation you can be like, okay, I should get a youth or whatever. I think you need to plan it financially. Is this a good time in my life? Is this a good woman that I'm with? All of that stuff needs to be planned out. So for me personally, that time just don't reach yet. So yeah, I have a lot of the boxes checked, like the marriage and all of that stuff. But I have to consider things like, is she ready?
Of course.
Right?
Of course.
Is the money ready and all of that stuff?
Yes, man. Such an important point. But I want to touch a little bit on just culturally, because the truth is a lot of persons are being very much more deliberate about if they have children or how many children they will have. You find that there are a lot of people who are having less children now than back in the day. Because my stepmother has 13 brothers and sisters.
Wow.
How many people are having 14 children now, So when you look at the landscape, for example, Dr. Alexis, and we were talking a little bit about this in the back, in the back, how much of this do you think has to do with not wanting to have children or not being able to actually produce a child?
That's a great question. I think that, listening to your story, I didn't have kids until I was in my 40s. At that time, years ago, I was busy advocating for, one group or another, trying to attend to patients and focus on those areas. And then, your mind changes.
Yes.
And I think it's okay to first of all let people know you have a choice. You can change your mind. Nothing is cast in stone. So I've had, patients and my own experience. They say, boy, I'm not sure. And then, you wake up for a period in your life and you say, yes, man, I want, 5 children, 10 children. And then there's another time that you're like, maybe life is good as is. You turn on the news and you say, boy, people blowing up people, wars, famine, environmental changes, etc. Even life in Jamaica sometimes, Jamaica on a good day is the greatest place on earth.
Oh, fantastic.
But on another day, you say, boy, the line in the tax office, the bills come in, you see the person next door to you struggling, you wonder if you should follow. I think ultimately, though, it's a gift, it's a blessing for those of us who have kids. I have 2 daughters, that's why I'm wearing pink. And, funny when you talk about planning, it was kind of planned the first time. We were married for maybe 12 years, 13 years. But then the second one is a year apart. Oh. So on the day when my wife said to me, boy, I have some news. You're still trying to get used to the first one. And, it's just something that I think, life isn't always planned.
Yes.
I didn't plan to be here this morning. But, the topic sounded interesting. The vibe was right. Come out and just share an experience. And I think certainly in the male community in Jamaica, we spend a lot of time talking about, which music video, which man have the biggest car, and who have the wickedest party. But there are life challenges that as men we face.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up because this is men's mental health awareness month, June, and a lot of men don't talk a lot about how they feel, especially as it relates to this particular thing. I mean, in the bar, on might joke and think about it, but on a real deep level, how does it affect a man to be called a gelding, especially when he feels like this is not something that he can do right now for various reasons? Kirk.
It feels like an obstacle, but for me personally, I don't let it affect me. Because I know there's a time and place for everything, right? I know I have to get certain things in order to get my checklist going, really. Be like, okay, everybody can, well, almost everybody, besides for medical reasons, can be a, how you call it?
A father.
Father, yeah.
You can just say father,
right? But not everybody is going to be like a good dad that raises their kids, right? Some people are like, all right, they haven't developed themselves to a certain point where it's like, okay, I'm going to be a good dad, right? I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah, but Kirk, we understand you have a checklist and you have plan all of these kind of things, but some people just, they went out one night, them have a good time, and, engage in some activities.
And they have to bear the consequences.
A phone call, and now there's a baby, and now they have to adjust.
They have to bear the consequences.
Mentally, listen, I say it all the time, I don't speak on behalf of men, I can't relate to a lot of their experiences, so I want you to tell me, maybe you can give me some insight on this, Dr. Alexis. How do men participate, or what goes on in their mind in this part of the conversation, especially when them see all of them friends are, them have them little mini-me and them just alike and they're great fathers and all of that. What's the conversation that they're having with themselves?
I don't care. I was like, it's soon my time. That's what I tell myself. What do you tell?
No, but it's not everybody still like Kirk with the checklist.
So,
come.
I think for me and how I explain it to patients is you have males and you have men. And
what's the difference?
Males are generally, individuals with penises that just live life. Men take responsibility.
There we go.
And in parenting, I think that many of us really before we're parents kind of think, and I think there's a genuine fear that I can mess this up. What if I get it wrong? What will I do? I don't know how to do this. And I grew up in a single parent home with my mom. So I didn't have a father, but I had father figures, but I didn't have a father in my home to show me, well, this is how you behave, what you do.
Right.
I'm the man I am today because of a woman.
Yeah. Good.
And I think that, I could have gone down the road of fear. I can't do this. I don't know how. I've never really seen it done. But I think it's a natural instinct for some of us to pursue parenthood, others to do it through surrogacy. In other words, you can be somebody's dad or father figure in someone's life.
Right.
We look at situations of adoption.
Yes.
There are couples who genuinely can't have children, whether it's whichever partner it is. And I think it's something that, we have to stop throwing stones, especially those of us who live in glass houses, to say, look, I don't know why you've made the decision you have in your life.
Right.
I'm not going to beat on you. What I'm going to do is encourage you to say, listen, if you want to have kids, as a man, talk to a man with kids, find out a little bit about,
Yes.
how it go. If you're afraid of the school fee, or look, it will work out. Kids don't need as much material things as we think they need. Quite often, it's just love and support. I mean, my kids, just going to the pharmacy and buying a toy,
Yes.
a little car or a little lollipop is a fantastic day.
Experience
They
for them,
don't all have to go to Disneyland. You don't have to go to the biggest
For sure.
hotel or anything like that. Just
For
a
sure.
simple outing, and that's love.
I'm glad you brought up that point, and we're going to come back to that. But right now, we've got to take a break. So when we get back, there'll be more of this discussion. Thank you so much for staying with us. Welcome back to the Roundtable. This morning, we're talking about the Gelding Stigma, supporting men's reproductive choices. And it's time for final thoughts. You know how I feel about the final thoughts business, but we're going to power through it. I'm going to ask each of you gentlemen to just talk a little bit to a man who is watching right now, who does not have a child, who feels the pressure, who's being called a gelding and he feel bad about it. Give him some words of encouragement. Go, Dr. Alexis, you first.
I think that, for men, we really have to have a more progressive outlook. I mean, as Jamaica changes and we develop in so many different ways, our discussions around reproductive health for both men and women, including paternity care, time off for men to be, good fathers or to develop fathering skills, understanding that there are different scenarios in which we find ourselves. You may be in love with a woman who is too old, has passed her reproductive stage in her life, and wondering, should I leave who I love for somebody because society says I should have a child? Is it okay to be a father to your brother's children or somebody else that needs love and is not receiving it where they are?
Right.
So I think it's time for us to elevate our conversations to being more supportive as a society, looking out for one another, genuinely being our brother's keeper, and really more encouragement than pulling down people who have made choices that maybe we don't share, but at the same time require our understanding and support. And I think if we start there, we can develop the different conversations for all the different scenarios that exist.
Awesome.
The jeering is not needed.
Yes.
The jeering is not needed. So, as the driver of the gelding truck, I will decide when I jump off the truck, right? So I think everyone has that responsibility to decide when they do have a child, right? And when you do, you make sure that you're a good dad and a good father, a good husband and everything, right? The baby is going to be a lot of work, a lot of sleepless nights, and a whole lot of responsibility, basically. So be sure that you're ready for that before, you go to a party and activities happen. That's what I think.
Well, what I will say is, listen, parenthood should be a choice, not a consequence. So make good choices and be careful with your choices because they have consequences. And I just want to say big ups to every single father on Father's Day that is coming on a Sunday. And Dr. Alexis is giving me a signal. Yes, sir.
Real quick shout out to my daughter Isabel, who's sick at home, and her sister Emma. Love you, and I promised I'd say hi, so this is their hi.
That's a good daddy moment.
That's a good dad.
We leave it there. Thank you so much. That is a wrap for the Thursday edition of the Roundtable. Special thanks to Dr. Alexis with his father duties for joining us this morning. Thank you to the Gelding captain for joining us as well. Enjoy the rest of your days, and as you go forward in the world, remember to be good and be on purpose. Take care. Walk good.
Don't ever wanna act too high and mighty, cause tomorrow I can fall down on my face. So in everything, Lord, I give you praise, and that puts a smile on my face. Lord, I thank you for sunshine, thank you for rain, thank you for joy. for me to get wiser. Got to work harder. In the end, it will get better. Lord, I thank you for sunshine. Thank you for rain. Thank you for joy.